All right, good evening. This is session 4, Adventures in the East Mark, my favorite OSR, with two of my favorite people and players, Eloy on my top left, Jose on my top right. Eloy is playing Martin Valinor, a East Mark Ranger, and of course Jose is playing Eldaron Astorian, and the co-founder of the East Mark Rangers is what it ultimately amounts to. And we are in session 4. This is the really picking up Shadow Asylum, which was session 3. These gentlemen have infiltrated the Lord's castle, trying to liberate it from an enemy. And this is not just any enemy, this is a special enemy. And they are hiding in the gatehouse, waiting for the sun to come up so they can drop the drawbridge, so the Lord's riffraff of militia and survivors can attempt to help them take back the castle. And that's where we start. We're going to go ahead and take a quick gander at the map, so everybody kind of has a clue where we're at in the game. So they are here at Asylum, City of Asylum, and they are in the Lord's Castle, hiding in the dark, waiting for the opportunity here in Asylum. And this has been, so far, a long and remarkable stretch for them in this just 3 sessions so far. So we'll stop sharing, and we'll get back to the game. All right. So, it is not quite sunup. You can start to see the as you can pick up now the grays of the morning. You know the sun it's coming. It's 15 or 20 minutes from. You've been able, Martine, from the window in this gatehouse, standing right over the drawbridge controls. You've been able to at times see movement on the far bank. And you think that's probably the Lord's men as they move and shuffle and hide and duck and into the reeds and into the where the moat separates the castle from the other side. The bridge on that side meets halfway. The drawbridge comes down and meets in the middle. So this is not a traditional drawbridge that crosses the entire. And so in that sense, it's a little strange. This moat is so big. The bridge has to come out halfway for this drawbridge to meet. Eldaron have been able to sit here in the dark in this open doorway of this stone, staying back in the dark, disguised in your orc clothing, and you've been able to count, you think, at least 25 orcs that come and go, that move about the courtyard, the walls. That correlates to the number you can assume, maybe 50 or so that you've been told. You were about 15 minutes from sunup.
Or do we have like torches in the thing next to us, or
No,
is it all dark?
because the
These
orcs.
are orcs, right?
Yeah, because the orcs. Matter of fact, that was one of the things you noticed when you
Yeah.
first infiltrated. There's no lights anywhere because the orcs have no problem seeing. One of the reasons you've decided your strategy would be wait till sunup is it gives you an advantage versus these orcs, right?
Yeah. So, having looked at the mechanism for a while now, we're confident we can operate this. How is it in terms of, like, is it an active thing where we have to crank the thingy,
It's
or is it
large.
like a lever that we can throw and it goes
There is
just by
there is an unlocking lever. You could just unlock it and let it spin. It's a large
and just let it? Yeah.
coil rope, tarred. So you could conceivably hack through this or saw through this. Would not be as fast as if you just freed the brake, right? The lever brake.
Yeah.
You do know it's counterweighted with the portcullis. You can see the contraption. You can see that it's counterweighted. I'll let you make an intelligence check, see if you can decipher how long it'll take this drawbridge to drop.
Okay. But the most important piece of data is that once we throw the lever, it goes, and we can do other things if we need to, like defend the
You hope.
gatehouse.
You hope. I mean, you don't.
Yeah,
You don't know.
that's.
Right.
But that's what we are.
Right.
We're guessing from how this thing is going. And am I intelligent enough to know? I have no idea how long it's going to take.
You're able to tell that they're clearly counterweighted together. That when it goes, it helps pull the portcullis up. The portcullis is it's a cross-hatched iron bars, heavy duty. Just looking out this window to your right, left, looking at it, it's thick, it's heavy, it's you just don't know how long it's going to drop, right? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
You
we don't want to. Well, we don't want the situation where the bridge is down, but the portcullis is closed. That would be
Yeah.
like the
The worst.
right,
Yeah.
like Benny Hill type.
Yeah.
right. Right now, just before sunup, you again, you're getting a sense now. You're seeing the light change a little bit. Eldrin, as you kind of peek out this stone opening, you can count immediately in the courtyard. There are probably 10 to 12 orcs
Okay.
between this opening in the stone gatehouse. Just as you peek out, you can see 10 or 12, and of course, many of them linger in the front because the stone steps up into the Lord's home is probably 20 meters from this door, right? And they're basically patrolling that courtyard, and on the walls above, you think maybe the same number, maybe more. That's harder to count because you have no idea. You haven't been able to look at the walls, right? Okay. The sun now is breaking the horizon. You now see the bright orange as it lights up the again for you, Martine, as you peer through this hole as the sun comes up, and we're talking east, so it's coming up here, right? You can see it light the fields across the moat. You can now see just a little bit of the people you thought you saw huddling and hiding as this orange glow starts to illuminate the countryside. You don't hear any different as far as moving about on the walls or moving about in the courtyard. There's no change in their demeanor.
Okay. Uh, so I whispered to Eldrin, how long should we wait? Sun is almost is starting to come up.
So as soon as there's light shining on top of the walls, blind the archers. We open it,
Ah,
and then
ah,
we hold it until the Lord's men are across.
yes. So stand watch, because you're looking back through the courtyard, so you can actually
Right.
see the
Yeah,
sun cresting up.
yeah.
Right.
You'll actually
Yeah,
see it hit the house of the Lord,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so, like a countdown, he stands in the doorway, getting ready to mark you to hit the lever, right?
Hmm.
Um, and anytime you're ready to hit that lever as the sun comes up, anytime you're ready to cue your friend to hit the lever, you go for it.
All right. Well, as soon as there's light on the top of the walls, because right,
Yep.
we're not gonna wait till it's in the
Yeah,
courtyard.
Right.
Hit it.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
So
so I'll
okay.
throw
Uh,
the lever.
it pops loose and it begins to crack one at a time. So it's
Uh,
not spinning. It's like pop pop
yeah,
pop
it's
up.
cluck, cluck.
Right now
Yeah.
you can try to pull it away and clear it to let it spin. Meanwhile, the portcullis makes this awful creaking as it
Creaking noise.
starts to lift and the bridge starts to shift down. Uh,
Yeah.
you, Eldrin, hear orc speak above you. If you're looking out into the courtyard, the wall is
Right.
technically behind you, above you, behind you. You can hear
Hmm.
orc speak, and you can hear boots as they move over to look over and see the drawbridge starting to pop like
Oh,
down one at a time. You
yeah.
do see, Martin, as you look out across the moat, you start to see this militia. They stand up out of the reeds. You see the
Hmm.
Lord. You see his flag as he comes to the edge, looking, and you hear him. You can't hear him, but you can see him talking and rallying. You can just hear a little murmur as he now realizes if this thing is so loud as it pops. Some of
Yeah.
the orcs in the courtyard now are coming toward the gatehouse.
Yeah, I would hide just inside the door,
Okay.
weapons at the
Mhm.
ready,
Okay.
and to try and ambush any who come in.
Okay. Do you want to do anything to speed this process up?
I will try as Eldrin, sort of holds the door, right? So I'll try and maybe see if I can, pull the rope to the side and maybe,
Yeah, you
help
can.
it
You
get
just
clear.
have to want to, but you can if you
Yeah,
want to. Yeah. So it's
yeah.
not a.
At
It's just a
least
matter
for
of
a
that's
bit
what you.
until
Okay.
we get, yeah.
Okay. So as you do, this is going to take a certain amount off, right? So the original fall, I have a certain amount of time it falls, but your
Yeah, yeah.
holding it is going to take so much off, right? If you hold it the whole time, you can actually gain this advantage. If you drop it, it'll go back. It'll lose this advantage. Okay. So
Yeah,
right now
got
it
it.
starts now. There's no number one. There's no clack clack clack. That stops. It's free
Yeah.
rolling.
Uh-huh.
The bridge, and you hear it, but it's now making at least a smooth sound as it's starting to go. And this is the orcs now take full speed, charging toward the door. They get here in about 12 seconds, right? Maybe 8 seconds. They hit the doorway two at a time. You see the first step in and the second step in. You would have surprise, sir. Eldrin. Oh, did he freeze?
Yeah, I'm here.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
no, my connection, it loves to interrupt just as we're going to action
It's
scenes.
almost 9 o'clock. Yeah,
And
it'll.
I'm at red and yellow, so it's gonna happen a couple times.
Okay, that's all right. I'm good with that. I just wanted to make sure if you did, well, I'll pause my narration. So you can, if these guys, as they break the doorway, you'd have a surprise attack on these guys.
All right, and they're orcs, so we got our
Yes, you get your bonus.
friendly ranger bonus. So that's 14 plus 4, 18.
Okay, roll that damage.
And that would be 2 plus 3, 5, 6 hits.
Okay.
The first guy.
Nice. So as the first one steps in, you cut. You take his head off, spin around, and stick a sword into the chest of the partners. They break the doorway. One goes down. You've driven your sword into the other, and he's falling to his knees. They're dead almost instantly. Two in the doorway now, piling up in the doorway. You now see, glancing out, you see now about 6 or 7 coming. Right? This drawbridge now has dropped. It's probably a quarter of the way now. You get a sense that if you hold it, it's going to get down pretty quick, but you got to hold on for another turn or so, right?
All right.
If you want to. I mean, you can
I'll ask. I will ask Eldrin. Can you hold the door?
I must, and so I draw my knife with my other hand to fight them two-handed as they approach.
You hear the horns on the wall above you as these orcs blow horns, and you start seeing arrows fire from the wall through that. As you're holding that rope, as it's starting to go, you're now seeing them fire across. In vain, these arrows are hitting into the moat, into the banks. But as the Lord now is starting to bring them onto the bridge, right? He's bringing them out as far into the bridge as he can. Okay. 2 more of these orcs break the doorway, sir.
All right. So it's So in this instance, is there initiative or just an attack?
It's up to you. I mean, it's no initiative. You're ultimately going as they enter the door, and then.
All right.
So
let's.
There's currently roughly 6 here. So what's left will get an attack on you, right?
All right, perfect.
Okay.
So I'm doing the shipboard scene from Kidnapped, if you ever saw that, right? Dirk and sword against the.
Nice.
All right, so now I have a +5 to hit because I have the +1 knife on the offhand.
Oh, nice.
So that's 12 plus 5, 17.
Okay. Roll some damage then.
Woo. And my damage total is again a 6.
Okay, nice. All right. You see men, Martin, as you're holding this, and the drawbridge now is probably one more turn from hitting. You see arrows.
Mm-hmm.
You see some of these militiamen, arrows in them at the end of the bridge, falling off into the water. As unfortunately, some of these arrows have taken purchase, and now against you, sir. Where's my dice? There it is. Okay, so orcs.
Bring it.
Okay. And that's a hit for 3 points of damage on you, Eldrin. You're overwhelmed by... Oh, and another hit for 3 more. As these 3 guys come in, surround you in this little gatehouse, right? You have taken some damage there. The gate now, or the bridge now is down. Boom. Right?
Okay.
And you can see the Lord charge across as what's left of the orcs in the courtyard start to spill into the gate area, the portcullis. They're standing firm, and they hit right at that gate drawbridge area. Right, they're not yet militia's not yet into the courthouse. You can hear the boots above thundering as they're heading down the stone steps beside this house, right? Eldrin, you're in such chaos right now. You probably can't see if there's any other orcs coming out of the other buildings or anything yet.
Right.
But those horns were blown a couple of times, so everyone in the castle now knows. The orcs have raised the alarm, right? Okay. All right. You are now, Martin, free from having to hold this drawbridge, right? It's hit.
And there's so I turn around and draw my sword. How many orcs are in here with us?
There are
4?
3 in here with you, but there were roughly 6. He killed 1 as they came in, so there's about 5 total, right? So there's 2 more right outside the door, 3 in here with you guys in this little space.
Okay, so I immediately attack 1 to get him off Eldrin.
Okay.
So to make things easier for him.
Whew.
So I hit him with my sword, and we have a +4, you said?
+4 total. 3 for ranger, 1 for strength. Right?
Yeah, nice.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So it's armor class 5?
That's a hit.
Oh, that's a hit. Excellent. Where's my damage die? Here it is. That would be 4 hits.
Nice. All right. You drive your sword into the back of one. He comes to his knees, falls, and you've now taken 1 out of this little room, and another one comes in the door. So, again, Eldrin, you're facing a couple here.
Can I attack?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're attacking. Excuse me. Excuse me. I just can't wait.
I know. So 12, that's armor class 6.
Yes. Nice. That's a hit.
And this time I did 8 points of damage.
Holy cow. Very good. All right.
And
So
my
these
computer
orcs
froze.
on the bridge, the orcs. Oh, my gosh. The orcs do. Okay. So the orcs on the bridge. Again, Martin, you can hear them clashing, echoing into your little stone room here. The orcs against Eldrin do 3 points of damage. And, right, the Lord's Militia against the orcs, they hit. Oops, wrong die for them. They hit. Ooh, okay. So, again, clashing and clanging. You can hear the scurrying of feet. These 2 orcs, the 2 in the doorway turn and leave. You see the doorway, you see the light come into the door as you realize those 2 in the doorway clearly evacuated maybe toward the major melee in the courthouse. So now there's just 2 in here with you 2.
Wait, so wait a second. Time out. So because I cut out, my communication cut out just after I attacked.
Right.
You
killed them. I'm sorry, there's 1 left in here. I'm sorry,
okay,
you're right.
Perfect.
There's 1 left in here. Totally forgot. Yep.
So go ahead.
Right. Yep.
But are we saying? Hang on. Are we saying that the Lord's militia already went in through the gatehouse?
They're at the gate, like the portcullis at the gate. They crossed the bridge.
So everybody's here with us, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but they're obviously you guys are in this stone room, so you're not obviously with them, but you can see through the window that there's a fight right in the gate.
Oh, because we're not by the portcullis itself. We're in the room next to the portcullis.
Right.
Is that how it works?
We're in like the mechanism room.
Yeah, you're in the gatehouse.
Oh, okay. I thought we were in front of the portcullis, so that would be coming like next to us.
So it's to the
Okay,
left of this stone gatehouse, and there's a window that looks onto that and a window that looks out over the moat. So you guys are in that room, and they're fighting right in this, coming off the bridge, fighting it. The orcs are trying to keep them getting in, right?
I had the wrong picture because there's like in the city of San Juan. It's a walled city, so there's a huge gate to the city,
right?
And it's 2 sets of doors, right. And I'm thinking we're in there, but that's not exactly what we are.
No,
we're in a room next to the actual entrance. Excellent. Right. Now I got it. There we go. Okay. All right. So.
It is Martine's turn. There's 1 orc in here with you guys. The other 2 have left the doorway. They must have gone to help the battle in the courtyard.
Try and slash at him.
Okay.
And that is a successful slash at him.
Nice.
For 3 hit points. So I slash.
Good.
Back.
All right. He's still on his feet, standing in front of Aldrin. Trying to fight both of you, this poor lowly orc.
Not for long.
That's true.
All right. So that's 11 plus 5 is 16.
Okay.
And 6 is my number. 6 hits.
Oh, nice.
Nice. All right. The Lord's militia gets hit. Okay, so, my gosh. All right, so you don't hear a whole lot of fighting left in the gatehouse. Matter of fact, it doesn't sound like much except the lone voice of the Lord as he's yelling and fighting and screaming. The Lord, I-10, yep, got it. The Lord, okay, so you can just hear, and now Martin, as you guys have killed this guy, if you glance out, you can see now a mass of orcs, and it looks like you can hear just the Lord's voice as the fighting is unfortunately died down right at the gate.
Oh boy.
Okay. All right, you're in here alone. There's about 4 bodies piled in the doorway, right? 4 or 5 bodies of orcs piled in the doorway.
So I think at this point I sheath my sword.
Right.
I tear off the foul orcish cloak and draw a bow and string an arrow and say, "Let's go out there and see
help
if
out.
we can help out."
You both can fit through the door at the same time. You just got to climb over these bodies. As you break into the courtyard, you see.
Time out.
Sorry. Yep.
Eldran rips off his guys too, and as they exit, he's gonna chew on some arnica.
Okay.
Ooh,
yep.
Good.
So what that'll be? Roll 1d6, and every turn you'll get one of those back. Right. So you're gonna kind of regenerate if you take damage. Right. Okay. Martine, you obviously if you don't have damage, you can't use arnica. Right. So okay. You have to wait till you hurt.
It's cool. I don't. My idea is to let, I guess, Eldrin go first, and then me stand in the threshold and try assess the situation to see who I'm picking off. Right.
As you come out of this gatehouse and quickly look to your right and assess, you see again a mass of orcs, and unfortunately the Lord stands alone fighting this mass of orcs. And coming out of the stone, the door, the large wooden door of the stone home, 20 meters from you. It looks like it looks like a Visirtani, right? He's got a cape. Actually, it looks more like a robe, like he's been awakened, and he comes out dragging behind him a great sword, but he doesn't appear to be in his armor. Almost like he was aroused, he was wakened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you see this Eldrin as you come out. He is left standing on the stone steps of that home, and you can see to your right this mass fight as the Lord is around it, right? Unfortunately, bodies of orcs and militia lay right in the gate area, right? The militia did not last long. Let's put it that way.
All right, sounds like we're going to have to shoot this Visirtani.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. How far away is he?
20 meters.
All right.
Oh, not good for him. Well, it's medium distance. So yeah, I mean, I scan around, and when I see the situation, I go for the Visirtani.
Yep. Okay.
And it is, I don't have a bonus because it's So I hit armor class 3.
Okay, that's a hit.
Good.
That's a hit.
And that is 3 hit points of damage.
Okay.
From my first arrow.
So he is as you fire this arrow, he steps, takes the arrow in the shoulder, right, or at least he's affected stress wise by this. Brings this great sword up and looks in your direction as this from where this arrow comes as it cuts through his shoulder on his back.
I hit AC 5.
That unfortunately doesn't. Oh, actually, it does. He's not in his armor. It does hit. Yes.
3 more hits for him.
3 more. Okay. Thank God he's in his. Thank God you awakened him.
Pajamas.
Right. He's in his robe. Right. So he's moving full speed, crossing this distance toward you with this great sword. Down the stone steps. Oh God, running. He can make double time. Right. 18 meters. Is that right? I think that's right. And he can attack either as a charge or because he would be within 3 meters of you, right? So I think a run is double time. He moves
run
9.
is 60 meters.
It's 60 meters. Yeah, he's supposed to. Yeah.
Okay,
So he can make it.
So he can make
Yeah.
it. And he'll charge. So who? Let's see. Remember, even is our man Martine 4 even. He's charging into Martine. Now this is going to lower his armor class again, unfortunately, but he gets a +2 with a great sword. Let me double check his. Oh no, right. Okay, so this is slightly different. It's a different kind of great sword. Okay. All right, so +2. He is HD. Double check this. Make sure I get all my stuff right. Okay. Don't want to mess up. 19 and does 3, 4, 5 points of damage. So he charges across. 19 +2 to hit. 21. And cuts and you feel this blade as it cuts through your armor. It like knife through butter. Real clean.
Yeah.
Real nice. Right? It's almost like a burn as opposed to a... It seems as though it cuts through that armor pretty easy. And of course now you stand. Now we're going to roll initiative for these guys. Meanwhile, I got to roll for what the orc army and the Lord is doing. And the orcs. There's no other orcs standing with him. And right now you hear clashing. You can see he's still up. He's still fighting these orcs, this Lord. Okay? So now we're going to go into an initiative for this, gentlemen. 6 for me. Woo.
3.
10.
Oh, nice.
Oh, no, hang on.
I was going to say 10. That's
awesome. The wrong dice. Here we go. It's 3.
Okay, so it'll be the Visirtani. And you notice from his look, from his groomed beard, from his coiffed hair, from his beautiful silken black robes, with his signet ring, you are dealing with Umar Azir Ahmed, right? The noble, right? Okay.
All right.
Okay, so again, we're going to see who. If he continues with Martine, he does not. He turns his attention, smiling upon Aldrin, and no, Aldrin, you managed to use your sword to block this great sword, right? Okay, yeah. It is Martine or Aldrin. You're both 3, so you get to go.
We can both attack, right?
Yeah, sure. Go. Roll simultaneous. I love it.
Oh, sure, he's got the hit points. All right. Oh, 19.
That's a hit. Yeah, that's a hit.
Yeah. And that is a total of 7 hits.
Whoo, nice. Okay.
So I draw my sword as well, and that gives me what, -2 to hit.
But he's got an armor class penalty from his charge, so.
So that negates that. Yeah. So anyway,
right,
I rolled a 19 on the dice, so it doesn't really matter. And my damage is +1, so 6 hits damage.
Yes.
6 hits damage. Wow, nice.
Yep.
He's sweating. You've damaged him as he steps back. Says something to you in this foreign speak. Wipes his mouth and then resets, right, as he sizes both of you up. Meanwhile, you can hear in the background clashing and fighting. Unbelievable. Stalemate going on right now between the Lord and what's left of these orcs. Oh, the Lord does hit. Oh, wait, wrong damage die for the Lord. Okay, wow, good. So... you do still hear him on his feet fighting, and it sounds like he's getting, he sounds like he's excited. So not so much under distress as he may be feeling it, right? Okay, gentlemen, initiative for round 2 in this melee. 1 for me.
4.
2.
Okay, Aldrin, Martine, and then the Visirtani Noble.
So that's a armor class 6.
That is a hit.
Oh, lucky his armor. That's 8 hits.
Oh, describe how you kill the Visirtani nobleman.
Amazing, because I had like a 7 total to hit, so I was like not going anywhere. Yeah.
Last round, he wounded. He wounded Martin, and then we both kind of assailed him. We were driving him back. along the walkway of the castle, and so he parried my blow. He turned to parry Martin's, and I got him in the armpit.
Oh,
With a thrust of
nice.
my sword.
Nice. And he looks stunned, like he can't believe it. Gurgles out something in Visirtan, blood bubbling from the corners of his mouth as he falls, and holding his great sword, just kind of sitting there on his knees, dead, but with his sword kind of propping him up. You, Martin, though, are free to move now into the next melee. You are close enough. You're only about 12 meters from the gatehouse melee that's going on.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So I draw a handful of arnica and start chewing at it.
Okay.
And my sword is out. What's the situation in the gatehouse? Bunch of orcs and
right.
the Lord.
He's surrounded by half a dozen maybe or so.
Ooh.
Just piles of militia orc bodies. It's him and about 6 to 8 orcs still going at it.
Oh, nice. Let's just jump into it. I take a running charge at the orcs, screaming, Valiant and Trobleda! And, I just lay into the nearest orc.
Nice. Yeah. Roll the hit.
And I froze.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no, you're there. Did he freeze? No,
I don't. Oh, there he is. I don't quite manage to land as gracefully as I thought, and it throws off my attack.
Okay.
And so, I actually do not connect with the orc as well as I thought.
Nice. This turns some of those orcs onto you, and first we'll have the orc army gets 3 attacks. So the first one's on the Lord's militia. Hitting, doing, 4. Okay, so now you're seeing now the Lord stumbling and fighting, but still alive, but wounded. The second attack on him, he is still on his feet, but he is badly wounded. He's taking a defensive stance from here. You can see he's backing away, really badly wounded. The last attack will be these orcs on you, sir, and just miss. You managed to dodge and shuffle, and maybe again you're actually east of them, right? So maybe the sun's in their eyes to make it worse, right? Because you're coming from the east gatehouse direction. Okay, now we're gonna go into rolling initiative for this last bit because there's not as many of them. So now we're gonna go into initiative for the orc army. 1 for them. The Lord gets a 5. The Orc army gets a 1. So I don't know where you guys are at in this. Okay.
4.
Okay. So Eldrin goes after the Lord, and then Martin, then the Orc army. Okay. So first, the Lord could really do some damage here. There's only about. Yeah. Oh, he does. He takes down an orc with his sword in this defensive posture. Even with a -2 in defensive posture, he does hit and kill an orc. Aldrin, it is your go, sir.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump down on top of the orcs besieging the Lord.
Okay.
With a shot. For the mark!
Nice.
And I got... these are orcs. So we go back up to +3, so that's 16, so that's an armor class 2.
Yes.
And I hit for 7 hits.
Holy cow. You take out at least 2 in this, right? As you step in, 1 down, another one down. As you take off a couple of heads, they're not even aware of you in this. They're fighting so
I'm guessing that I let down, crushed a couple down and just smacked them while they're on the ground before they can rise.
Awesome. All right. Martin, again, now you're still squared up against a couple of these orcs.
Yeah, but now I have my bearings, and so I parried their blows, and so I, swiftly strike one and hit him in the neck, and I think he bleeds out because I hit for 8 points of damage.
Oh, that would finish off what's left. That would basically, you would get one, you get the other, and maybe step in and get the final orc. That
nice.
kills what's left of this orc army. Unbelievable. Whoo!
Nice.
And they don't get to go because they're dead. You guys stand among a mass of orcs. Only about 50 orcs, right? Not in total, but all over the place. And then, of course, you can see on the bridge, dead militia. You can see where they left a trail of dead peasants, militiamen, soldiers who are already wounded, and the Lord. The Lord is alive. He falls to his knees. He's badly wounded, bloodied, and it's eerily quiet.
All right.
All the racket is gone.
We'll full of arnica and say, "Catch your breath, my lord. We will go see if you're about to your family and Castellan."
Okay.
Are there, are there no more militia coming in?
No, he brought. Well, there may be people down in the camp that were, they'd made a makeshift camp out in the city, outside the city. Remember, the city was abandoned when you guys came in and snuck in. Nobody may know, right? Yeah. Nobody may know.
So there's no more combatants. Is my
not
point.
out here. Not. If you step up and look at the wall into the sun, there doesn't appear to be any combatants on the wall. They all came off the wall to fight in this scrum. There's nobody here in the courtyard. You haven't seen any orcs come out of the buildings. There is, of course, his stone home, and the door open where he came out and down the stairs. But there does not appear to be, and no noise. I mean, you're not hearing. Okay, you might hear some orcs dying their final breaths, moaning, that kind of thing. But
to be clear, we never had any horses. Neither did the Lord, right? So everybody was on foot.
Right. He has horses, but nobody escaped with horses. And you don't know where his groom Wallace is at, and you don't know where his Castellan Colton Valix is at, nor do you know where his lady Sarah is at.
Correct.
They would have all been in the.
And we haven't seen any horses in this courtyard either.
Nope.
Yeah, well, or
the Lord would have.
So
right in the Lord's description of the castle to you, when he scribbled it out in the dirt so you could infiltrate, the far southwest corner of the castle is the stables. It would be where the groom and the horses in the actual castle are kept. You can't see them for the sake of this big home that's between you and it, right? So you do know there's a stable in the actual keep. It's just you can't see it.
Does the portcullis room where we were at with the mechanism, does that have a door that we can close? Or
no, it's just an open doorway that they in and out of that guardhouse, right? There's only one door, by the way, onto it, right? You have to come in and out.
Yeah.
And that door is on the south wall.
Maybe we should get the Lord inside the mechanism room and keep him hidden while he recuperates.
Roll that arnica. See how much hit points you earn back for him, sir.
6, better than for me.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
He speaks, but in hushed tones. Coming off this adrenaline rush, sweating profusely as he's wounded and bleeding out, and you maybe wrapped him and maybe done some quick medical work on him, fed him this arnica. He limps into the guardhouse. You help him take a seat on the floor, and he's looking at you, kind of stunned, almost like he's not believing it's over, right?
My lord, take a rest. We can scout ahead and see to the situation inside the tower.
Okay. As you turn to leave, he reaches out and grabs your clothes, your tunic, something, pulls on it, and says, "My wife, Lady Sarah. Where is she?"
"We'll go find her, my lord."
"Thank you." And he sits back, again, staring into space, somewhat stunned. As you cross this courtyard to the steps, they go up about 12 meters to the top of these stone steps. He did leave this big wooden door. You can see the bar that would bar the door is down. That obviously had not been barred because he just like kicked the door open and came out. As you enter, you can smell incense heavily. You notice there's some incense burning on a table as you come into this. You can see there are candles burning lightly as they go up the stairs. Again, burning incense, very Visirtan, right? If you've ever been there or heard the stories, very right. You see still beautiful rugs and tapestries. It's not been violated. It's not been vandalized. It is beautiful. He was obviously living here. This was going to be his home. As you come in, you can see in this foyer there's
his only interior decoration for power the 50 orcs.
Right. and he forgot to put his drawers on when he went outside.
Yeah.
Well, he was woke up, right? You guys woke him up at dawn, man. Are you kidding me? Yeah. To the right, stairwell up. It's ornate, beautiful. I mean, the Lord Wainwright has enjoyed his lifestyle here in Asylum. Again, carpeted, candles burning. You can see this goes up to a second landing, and that landing leads to arched doorways. 3 different arched doorways. They don't have doors in them. They just lead into other rooms on that second floor. There is a ceiling just above that. You get the idea there's probably a 3rd floor at least. Thinking back to outside, yeah, there's probably a 3rd floor to this place. To your left leads you into a dining room, right? You can see it through the doors. There's a dining room. And of course, and then there's maybe other rooms that lead off from there to the left.
Well, I think we should go. And are there any stairs down? Like,
well, you can't see them from here. There may be into a. Remember though, you guys came up through the floor of the sewers, and it's a very high water table. So if they have a basement, it must be
shallow,
yeah, or waterproof or somehow, if that's possible. The idea that there's anything below you would be remarkable engineering.
Maybe. So I tell Martin, maybe they're keeping her prisoner in her quarters. Perhaps we should search upstairs first.
Yes. Should we bar the doors? Should we close the doors and bar them? Keep anybody from getting out, and I don't know.
If we bar them from inside, they can unbar them. So let us use trust to speed.
Yeah.
So
So up the stairs we go.
Okay.
Swords head ready. Yeah.
All right. As you creep up the stairs, swords ready, you do hear a subtle movement, and you actually through the first archway. So at the top, again, it goes into a second landing, and there's an arched doorway in the middle. There's an archway as you come off the stairs. There's an archway into another area, archway on the far side of this floor, and then an archway in the middle of this room. But you see a curtain flutter in that first archway, and you can hear what it sounds like somebody moving.
So I signal Martin to be ready, and what I say is, all right, we'll go to the end of the hallway. I think I see somebody there, and as I move past, I open the curtain with my sword.
Yeah, and you see just out of the corner of your eyes, somebody ducked behind a chair, a really nice padded, beautiful armchair. They're not clever enough to get to avoid your seeing them. Of course, Martine, you don't see this, but Aldrin, as he pulls that back, sees somebody ducked behind this armchair.
Who's there? We come in the name of Lord Wainwright.
Okay, let's roll initiative. Visirtan stands up from behind the chair, brandishing a curved blade. He is in his armor and a helmet. You can't quite see his face. And he stands up, steps out. He is fluid of foot. He wields the weapon very, very well. This might have been his bodyguard or his his top guy. Okay.
All right.
And I rolled a 2, gentlemen. We are at only about 16 meters in range, right? Just and round 1, I rolled a 2 initiative. You, sir?
So did I too.
Okay.
I rolled a 6.
Okay, Aldrin.
Nice.
Aldrin. All right. Again, he doesn't say anything. He has actually a metal helmet with a metal black, and again they're marked with this silk-like tunic with red embroidery of the Zamordox cult. This is not painted white like it is on the orcs, the sloppy stuff. These guys, he's like a robe that goes over his armor. You can see his armor because it's only a tabard, right? And boots, knee-high boots. He moves very well. Eldrin, you, sir, go first. You're 16 meters.
Well, I'm going to let him do the moving. I'm going to, with my offhand, cast my axe.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's 11, so no, that's armor class 7.
Oh, you threw your axe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he just definitely steps away from that as it hits into the wall, maybe 10 meters behind him. You can see the floor of this is large, maybe 40-meter floors. Who knows? You can't see all of the rooms, but this is pretty. It's not tall, but it's big, right? 3 floors high and pretty big floors. Okay, Martine, we're going simultaneously, but I'll let you go for the sake of
yeah.
ease of
So
play.
okay, so I step beside Eldrin as this guy approaches, and I hit armor class 5.
Oh, that is not good enough. He
Okay.
definitely with his scimitar bats away your sword. Did you shoot at him? I'm sorry, you said sword.
No,
right?
no,
Yeah.
I struck him with the sword. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so he parries my blow. Yeah.
And because you've stepped in and actually engaged him, he's going to fight back.
Attack me. Yeah.
Yep. Oh, very sloppy. He deflects beautifully, but his swing back around was a little in haste. Maybe he's a little more nervous than he appears, right? He throws that sword back at you very sloppily.
Yeah, and I take the opportunity to sort of sidestep and try to get him between Eldrin and me.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That is definitely doable. You just position yourself, right? I mean there's
right.
Yeah. Okay, round 2, initiative. 5 for me.
3.
Oh, jeez. 1.
Okay. Okay, and that will be Eldrin, and then will be Martin, right? Okay, so again, he's still facing you, though. You cleverly kind of step sideways, getting him to square his shoulders, between you two. And he's still going at, 15, I believe, is a hit for him on your armor class 4.
Yes. Is he hitting Eldrin or
no?
Or
you,
Martine?
Martine. He's still engaged with you.
Okay, yeah.
As you
4.
stepped around, he followed you. So I need a 12 and
Yeah.
up. That's a hit. 7 points of damage.
Ouch! Good thing the arnica worked.
Yes.
I went full up by the time we met this guy. So
Right. Yes.
all
yes.
those points that I made, I just lost again. So
Woo. Okay, Aldrin, it is your and again, he has your buddy has cleverly positioned him where you have flanking basically on him. So I would give you a +1 here, unless there is actual flanking in the book. If not, I'd give you a bonus.
All right, so with that bonus, I'd hit armor class -1.
Oh yeah, barely, but good. No, yeah, you hit him. Damage.
So that's 7 hits.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he's aware of you now as you drive this into his hip or shoulder, and of course, Martine. You can't see his face, so you don't. But you hear him. You can actually hear him. You can hear him groan as he takes this damage, echoing in his metal helmet.
yeah. And so it's my turn, but he hit me so hard that that throws my attack off and sort of stagger to the side, trying to regain my footing. Yeah.
All right, initiative for round 3. You hear as you guys are now striking, clanging. swords hitting each other, making noise, knocking over furniture. Eldrin, you hear it first echo from somewhere on this floor to the left. You hear murmuring and high pitched voice as if someone's trying to cry out.
All right.
Okay. All right. I rolled a 4 initiative.
I got a 5.
I rolled a 4 also.
Okay.
So it's Martin first, and then
Yep.
Batty and me simultaneously.
Yep. Okay,
come on,
Martin.
come on. Need a good roll, and no, armor class 7 only.
Oh, okay,
Jeez.
no, that's not. I'm not going to do it. Okay. All right, Aldrin, I'll let you go for the sake of confusion. I'll let you
Fun.
go.
Sweet
Armor
parries, Ken.
class.
It's a good fighter. Yeah.
Armor class 3.
Yes.
That is a hit. Yes.
All right. So as he's parrying Martin, I get to slash at him, but he's so quick on his feet that I only do 3 hits.
Oh,
It's
nice,
just a
though.
slash.
At this point, you've hit him twice. His attention is fully on you. He again, as Martin misses, he turns to face you. And, 16?
That hits.
Is that? Yeah, 12. I keep forgetting. 4 points. Holy cow.
Ouch.
Okay. And now you can hear it as well, Martin. You're noticed as they missed, and he turns away to face your friend. You hear, again, kind of behind you, because you circled the room a little bit, coming from a room on this floor, deeper, high-pitched, kind of whimpering and crying.
Got it.
Okay, I rolled a 1 for initiative, so you gents are going to get to go first, I'm sure.
Yes.
6.
Woo! Okay. All right.
I got a
4.
5. So I'm not that good. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So,
I rolled
I'll run those first. Yeah.
20.
Oh,
Oh my
Got
God.
it.
double
Yeah.
damage.
Nice.
Nice.
So now, and it's nice because I didn't roll that much damage. So that's 11 hits.
Oh, well, describe how you finished this
Excellent.
this guy.
Yeah, so I had wounded him. He turned around and he spagged me back on my heels. So I kind of like shoulder pushed him, and as he was staggering, slammed him across the face with the sword.
Oh, nice. Yeah, splitting his
Split the
helmet.
helmet.
Yep,
Yeah.
splitting his helmet open.
So it was like a shoulder push and whammo.
Nice. Again, down all of a sudden, aside from the crying and whimpering coming from one of these other passages into another room, you can see the sunlight coming in, some open shutters. Beautiful morning, aside from the smell of blood and orc. You might stink of orc from wearing the garbs, earlier. You've since
Sure.
shed. Yep. And you can hear this crying and whimpering.
That may
So
be the
this
Lady
room,
Sarah,
this room doesn't appear to have anything in it other than this. You can actually see as you kind of glance around the room. He had obviously made this a makeshift bedroom. This guy, right?
Okay.
He had pillows piled up by a balcony that overlooked the ocean. Over the again, this is high enough that it overlooks the back of the castle and out over the ocean. Well, not quite the ocean, but the inlet there, right?
The bay.
The bay, correct. The Asylum Bay there. Yep. And he had piled up pillows and made this into a bedroom. You can see where he had candles burning. He had clearly hastily dressed, because you realize there are pieces of his armor that are left scattered about this. But he managed to get his helm on and his jerkin, right? Again, that's all that appears to be in this room, right?
Well, I think we should, see if this is the Lady Sarah. We'll try to follow the sound of her voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely. And I'll grab another handful of
Arnica.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see, how many do I have left?
So you'll have to go
Oh,
there,
geez.
though. You can't cross through this room. You have to go back out to the landing.
We'll
right?
do it.
And you can hear now, as you get out on the landing, it is louder. There is the middle archway on your right here as you cross in front of that room. Hard to say if it's coming from that room. It's one of these two, though, that you're hearing this.
Let's check the first one then.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you peek into this, you realize this was the master suite. Pillows on the floor. You can see the armor, beautiful armor from the noble, Visirtan Noble. Obviously in Visirtan culture and artisan style, all black again, and in these red paint, this Zamordox cult iconography. Beautiful set of armor, though. Had he been in it, might have been a different deal, right?
Yeah.
Nobody else in here. There are candles burning. You can see he clearly got it when he heard it and walked straight out. And nothing else appears to be in here other than this master suite. Large. I mean, it's 30 meters deep, wide. It goes out onto a balcony that, of course, is stone, overlooks that bay.
Okay.
Check the next one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as you enter the next one, you see in the far corner, unfortunately, as you enter, you see sitting on one of one of the Eastmark furniture, a couch, armchair. On the couch appears to be one of the Lord's men. He is dead. He's just propped up on the couch, posed. And as you pass through the room toward the whimpering and the crying, you see yet another, unfortunately, an older gentleman. He looks. We might have to make a roll for this one. Let's make a wisdom check or an intelligence check, whichever one you want. Remember, we need to add your bonus and roll under that number, right?
So
yes, I got it.
Okay. He looks eerily familiar to you, Martine. Same color hair, same kind of hair, although it's a little grayer. As you dig deep, where have I seen him? You realize he looks like the warrior on the bridge that fought the Etten with you.
Oh!
And he's not, but he looks a lot like him. And, yeah, that would be... Definitely he looks familiar, right? He looks a lot like that younger man, right? He's older. This guy's much older, 55 or so. And he's dead. He's been posed there, foot crossed. They got a pipe stuck in his mouth.
These Visirtan savages they made mockery of Lord Wainwright's staff.
And in the back corner, draped in curtains, maybe, you can hear this whimpering and sobbing, but something it's behind the curtain of some kind, right?
So I call out, Lady Sarah,
and you hear it stop, and then you hear even
well, let's go.
more frantically, right?
So we'll move down and see if we can check under the curtain or whatever.
Probably tied up and gagged.
Yeah, you can reach up and grab this and pull it down. You see that they have put her in like a makeshift cage. She is bound, gagged. Her hands are bound behind her back to her what do you call that? Hogtied. She is bound. She's crying. She is not. She is dressed. I mean, she's not naked or anything. They don't appear as if they've. And they appear to have not fed her, or there's no water. Geez. There's no food. This could have been 4 or 5 days, maybe. These bodies, you've seen carcasses before, and these two sitting here, you're smelling them. These Visirtan were letting them rot here in this, which is bizarre, but it's what they were doing, right?
Is the cage metal or
yeah, I mean it is a Visirtan, probably a large, what used to be a large bird cage. It would have been made of wood or some kind of folded wood. So you can crack it open, break it open, whatever it takes.
Let's get her out of there. Yeah.
Yep. She is crying, whimpering. She's as you pull the gag away, she can barely talk. Her lips are. She's clearly dehydrated. As you maybe pour a little water into her mouth, she gasps, chokes, takes it, and she says, "Who are you? What is going on? Where is the Lord?" And she's begins to cry again, heavily.
Be at ease, Lady Sarah. Your husband, Lord Wainwright, is is at the gatehouse.
We are rangers of the mark, lady.
Oh,
Have to
oh,
say it.
think the think Valinor. Oh, no, Valiant. Excuse me. Think
Valiant.
Valiant. Yes, Valinor's you.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoops. Thank Valiant for
Yeah.
your these. I told my husband not to marry Penelope to these savages. Look what they have done. And she points to poor Wallace, our groom. Unbelievable. And Colton Velix, he tried desperately to protect me and save me. Unbelievable. And she puts her head in your shoulder and cries, lays there and cries.
So we
Whoever
you
told
know in the process of consoling her, we'll be at ease, lady. Your husband is here. Are there any more Visirtani in the castle?
She says,
We
I've only ever seen that penumbra loving Ahmed and his goon. I don't even know his name. They're the only two I ever saw.
they'll trouble
Well,
you no more, lady.
maybe, Martin, maybe we should carry her to her husband before we continue exploring this.
Yes. Be at ease. Those Visirtani curs are both rotting in hell now. They are dead.
Oh,
So we.
how about my daughter? I have not seen her in days.
She is well.
She went with the
Down.
Lord to the glen.
She is well. She's hiding in the town, which has been
Oh,
abandoned.
oh,
We will soon
thank
have her
God.
with you. And so Eldrin is right. We'll carry her out.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, down the stairs. It's quiet. The door. You did shut the door. You said, and bar it.
uh, no, I
No,
think
no.
Okay.
they
Uh,
decided against it. So
as you get out to the stone steps with her, you can see now there's some of the townsfolk have come in. You can see them dragging orc bodies and piling them on one side. You weren't. So some of these people must have been watching it, hiding in the city as things transpired. They've come up and spied. You can see they're starting to arrange the unfortunate dead militiamen. As they see you, they look up. Some wave, and they come rushing over to you and meet you at the stairs to take the lady. You can see they've triaged. They've got Penelope's there, and you can see the Lord is stretched out. He's alive. He's moving his head and everything, but they've got his weapon. They've left the body of the Med, right? He's not been touched since. They haven't gotten to the gatehouse yet. As you come down these, as you hand the lady Sarah over to these maids in waiting, right? These ladies in waiting that were with Penelope at the camp.
yeah.
Okay. Not many men around, right? It seems like there were some hanging from the walls, right? That had been killed. They hung them from the walls. All the wet militia and soldiers that were able-bodied at all. Unfortunately, the Lord was the last standing. You're standing here really among really old, infirm villagers and women, children that have funneling in.
So I'll speak to somebody in the Lord's staff, right? Somebody with a position of authority, and tell them to rally all the men from the village, like from all the survivors in the village, to bring them inside the walls, and then to lift the drawbridge and lower the portcullis in case the Visirtani should arrive. Right, we want to be behind walls. Wait, the rest of them should wait here in the courtyard while we clear out the rest of the keep itself. Make sure there are no more Visirtani.
Okay, so you say this to Penelope. She's 21 or 2, beautiful. Looks a lot like her mother and her father. A beautiful young girl, and she says, "Okay," and she turns and tells Johnny, run to the village and run back to the camps outside the city and tell all the people to get in, to pack up, bring everything in here, food, everything. And you hear her telling this to little Johnny, and Johnny grabs a couple of his buddies, and they race off out of the gate, cross the bridge. And she turns to you and says, "I cannot thank you enough. This is unbelievable. my mother's alive. That is a miracle, and my father barely lives, but he will do well. Um, lesson learned. My father, I believe, may know where his allyship needs to be now for sure. I am ashamed of my father's actions.
Yeah, there's no.
He's almost paid
Uh,
for it with his life, but he certainly paid for it with the lives of all of his knights and his soldiers and his many of his townfolk.
yes,
Hopefully,
and you
this can
seem,
be rebuilt. But
yeah, and you seem to have the right grasp of the situation, lady.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, perhaps you're right. Make sure some of the men go out and go through the houses and make sure you bring all the food and provisions you can. We may have to withstand a long siege if that
A
Visirtani army in the
siege,
wood.
but you have won.
Um,
You have killed all the orcs. What siege? Isn't the threat over?
no, there's
there were
an army.
still your fiance's men in the forest.
Yes,
Oh,
we
so it
must
is.
be
So
ready
this is
for.
just the beginning. This can't be true.
I'm
You
afraid
are
so.
the only capable men here. You talk as if you're leaving.
No, but well, you must secure the castle, and word must be sent to Robleda. We will make sure that the keep itself contains no more enemies.
Hmm.
You should see to the organizing of your people to be ready to withstand a siege, and
Right.
then we shall discuss how to proceed.
Okay. Okay.
Because we got to figure out, yeah, because we
Yeah,
got to get to
that's right.
Robleda.
Um,
Uh,
so in your dialogue with her, she exchanges what information she has. She asked if you saw his boat anchored out in the
oh,
bay, his ship.
the Visirtani ship, right?
She said it should still be there. It was here when we left. When we
Mm,
left up to the Sinister Glen, you might have. I don't know if you went out on the balcony to overlook the bay, but if you did, you would have seen it, right? If you did, right?
Okay.
The reality is, yes, there's a ship in the bay, right? Okay, anchored out in the bay. There are a
mm,
handful of local fishing vessels, things like that, but no major warships. This is a large ship. It not quite big enough to have brought 200 men, but it would have been big enough to bring these orcs. So
mhm.
the 200 soldiers must have been offloaded by some other vessels. You know, I mean, you guys are putting this together best that you. Doesn't matter. I mean, they're there. Uh, so she does remind you or point out that there's a ship in the bay. She says that the stocks, the horses, would be around in the back of the castle. But I don't, I don't know if Wallace the groom is around to aid you with the horses.
Hmm.
Uh, he is not, my lady. He is not. Um, Martin, with your permit, we already hopefully our barbarian friend and the halflings are have made it to Robleda by now, or at least are well
Yes.
on their way. So there
Barbarian,
may be
who is
some.
that you speak of?
A man from I forgot the name that we gave him. I don't think we gave him a name to his homeland, right?
No,
Uh,
he's a sea people, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically he's a Welshman, but yeah,
I
would be a
know,
foreign
but we
foreign
haven't.
country. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, yeah. I mean, if you describe him as a barbarian, you describe him, she would know him as Vaughn, their groom's son,
Oh,
Vaughn
Oh.
Ap Wallace.
that's the
So he's Vaughn,
connection.
son of Wallace,
Oh,
the guy who helped you fight the Yet, my character's father, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now she knows Wallace is dead, and she knows Vaughn went to Robleda, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
So
now know Vaughn, groom here was Vaughn's father, right? Okay.
Father.
that
Oh,
would
awesome.
motivate him even more to help us. Yeah. So let us first clear the keep and
Hmm.
Yeah, make sure there's no further.
Uh,
then we can see to its defense.
okay. Uh, Narratively, as you go through the buildings that are in the keep, because there are homes and there are buildings in here, as you go through the keep, you notice that all the orcs had been using those. they're violated, they're ransacked, the furniture's been destroyed. They were sleeping in these homes in the keep itself. As you move through the keep, you find no orcs alive. They all clearly came to the alarm horns and died in that process. You do get around to that far southwest corner, and you do see that there is a stable. There appears to be about 6 horses in there. They have been neglected. They have not been fed and watered. They're not in the greatest of condition over the last few days. You see where they have actually slaughtered. It must be maybe 3 or 4 horses have been slaughtered. The orcs have been eating them, but there are 6 alive in the stables. Okay, they could be. They're gonna have to feed them and water them, but they could be used. These horses could be ridden.
All right.
So, you might want to, if you do, you might want to take 2. Right, you ride one and then give one a rest because they haven't been fed or watered. Right.
So.
In the main house, it's just the dining room. There's a kitchen. There's a staff's quarters, but in the house, no other, no other combatants or things of interest. However, again, as they've collected up the nobleman's body, you see as you come out his sword. Of course, they propped his sword up. Penelope at some point draws your attention to it and says, "This is fine craftsmanship." And we collected it off the body of Ahmed, and she just points to it, leaning up against the door of the house.
And you said this was like a 2-handed sword, like a
this
sword?
is a 2-handed, kind of like a handed and a half. What is that? A broadsword? A arming sword? What is that? Right?
No,
like a bastard sword.
Yeah, right. Yeah, hand and a half. You can carry it with 1 or 2. He was dragging it with 1, and then he could swing it with 2. But it could be right. If you pick it up and examine it, it's very light. When you if you tap the blade on the stone, it's a soft hum, beautiful balance and vibration. It is a very finely crafted weapon.
Oh, nice.
And it's a hand and a half, so it can be used 1-handed or 2-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell Eldrin, you are the better swordsman of the both of us. Maybe you could put this to good use.
I don't know that is true, but I will do my best, my friend.
What did we find out last time? This ship had come straight here. Ahmed's ship that's in the bay.
Mm-hmm.
But his forces, the Visirtani forces,
yes.
We think they disembarked further south. And the map is marked what? Village by the sea or something like that?
Yep.
Right, because I'm looking at the map here, but it's in Spanish. So, what do they call that? Map by the village by the sea or something?
Yes. I'm sorry, I've got it right here. It is Village of the Channel. There's a village in the channel, off the channel.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so
again, you think a lot of the people that escaped Asylum probably headed, the ones that you didn't pass on the road, the refugees probably ran to the Village on the Channel. Maybe not. We don't know what happened to the Village on the Channel, right? Because those army offloaded somewhere. Who knows what happened to the Village on the Channel, right?
Yeah, that is right. Mm-hmm. So Eldrin, how should we proceed from here? These people are bound to be met by a siege. They may. I don't know if that Visirtani army we found in the woods. I mean, are they planning on marching further north, or are they coming south again?
I think that that is what we must find out. I at least do not know much about defending a keep, but we can scout out the enemies and see if they're on their way here, and perhaps then we can help the lady make a decision.
And what of this ship? Well, there's still. Will there still be crew on this ship, Um,
we could scout that out before we go seek, and
I think we should
maybe.
check that because worst case scenario, if there are sailors here in the castle now, then we could take the ship and maybe, I don't know, maybe get the women folk out of danger or something. That is one possibility. If there are no sailors here to sail this ship, we could scuttle it so that it falls out. It's useless to the Visirtani.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think we don't know enough, right? So
Yeah, we should go scout out the ship and then perhaps see if the army is approaching.
mhm,
However, I do not know much about scuttling a ship, but perhaps we can take some pitch or oil and we can set fire to it.
instead of the fire, yeah.
Hmm.
As long as it's denied to the enemy,
Hmm. Right.
it should work. Yeah.
So
So
how do you want to? What do you want to do first? How do you want to go about it? By the way, remember too, his armor is hanging, in the master bedroom,
yeah,
right?
right. What type of
Yeah.
armor is it? Is it like chainmail? Is it
It is. It's more like was it scale? Not scale. It's like folded
yeah,
scale over scale. I guess, right? Is that what it's called? Scale.
Like
scale armor?
like bandit armor, you mean?
Um. Yeah, but of much. I mean, it's Visirtani craftsmanship, so it's molded. It's the leatherwork is superior. It's very lightweight. But yeah, I suppose you could say this is the kind of thing bandits would wear, but it's way too nice.
No, bandit, bandit. I
Oh,
mean
bandit.
bandit.
Oh, yeah. So
No,
yes,
not
bandit. Now I
bandit.
guess that I don't know where's my book. But yeah, bandit would probably. Well, let me look at. Oh, actually, I've got his character sheet. Let me just look at his monster.
Also, we'll look at the gear from the lieutenant. Maybe there's something useful there.
It is. Where is he? Oh, here he is. Yep, banded, but of highest craftsmanship. It's too light. I mean, it feels lighter than it should.
That sounds good.
Okay.
You should go ahead and take it if it fits, and then we'll see what the lieutenant also, if he had any cool stuff that we can. We have to do some murder hoboing. This is
Yeah, of course.
D&D.
What is the? I don't have my book with me. What's the banded
I've got it right here.
Bandit armor would be armor class 4.
Mm-hmm.
armor class 4? That's good. That's good.
So it
So that
improves your AC by 1, and if it's magical,
yeah,
then you got more. Yeah,
yeah,
but bandit armor is AC 4.
yeah, and so it's lighter than my chain. So
If you're gonna fit it on, see how it fits.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
I mean
it
it doesn't
feels.
have it doesn't the markings with the robes and the stuff. That's a separate thing. The
That's a
armor is just
tabard. You can just
yeah,
tear. You can burn the tabard to tear it off. It's
yeah,
black. I mean, it's dark leather, black. It's been stained, so to speak, but it's not marked with the
yeah.
Zambordox. And it feels really lightweight. Uh,
Sure, I'll try it. Yeah.
you will need to make a save versus spells for me though as you slide into this armor.
Uh
Oh,
oh,
oh. Our plan worked, Jason. No.
where is my spells? It is
Oh, I've got it.
5, but I have +1 against. So it's 18 +1 is 19.
That sounds good to me.
Yep.
You, I
Eldarin, as he looks up at you, with a smile, you feel this. You fight it off, Martin, but you feel this rage, and you see briefly, Eldarin. You see his eyes fog with the shadow briefly, and then go away.
By
The
Valiant.
rage passes, and his eyes
Mhm.
clear, but for a split second, you feel like you're just barely hanging on. You're angry, rage. Your eyes. You don't notice your eyes, but Alderin certainly sees them fog with this, and then it clears up, and you feel normal. Feels great though.
Can I take it off?
Sure, you can.
I don't know about this. I felt something come over me
I saw
when I
I saw
got.
the shadows of Zamordak, but they were gone almost instantly.
Uh, I don't know, this accursed thing. Um, I want no part of that shadow on me, so I'm not gonna wear it. I'm
Okay.
gonna go back to my
Okay.
chainmail.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, of course, you can keep it and benefit from it as a treasure if you
Oh,
offload it
that'd be
to
good.
the Duke or somebody, of
sure,
course.
sure.
Right.
That
Okay.
sounds good.
Okay.
And the other question was, did the lieutenant have any useful loot? It's because it's the lieutenant,
This
right?
is you're talking about. Oh,
The
you're talking about the
lieutenant.
assassin, the Visirtani assassin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
He
guy that
has
we
a
fought.
scimitar, a beautiful craftsmanship scimitar. Not it doesn't feel better than this handed in half, right? I mean, it's beautiful
Okay.
craftsmanship. He is wearing a leather armor, right? No, he's not. Where's he at? He is banded. Same thing, banded. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
His is of course painted the same. It's not quite as nice. It's not as light, right, as the stuff that came off of
hmm
that Martine just tried on. So it's not quite as nice, right? Clearly, there's something magical about Ahmed's armor,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
something magical about this bastard sword too, probably, right?
yeah.
Right, so you
So.
can take the lieutenant's armor because it's still better than chain.
Yeah, it's banded. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Okay. So okay. So I can
fits
do that.
good, feels good, and you don't feel rage. You don't feel any different. You feel like Martine Valinor of the Eastmark.
Excellent. Well, we can always take it to see if any of the sages at Roblera have anything to say
Mm-hmm.
about
Right.
this banded armor
Mm-hmm.
and whether it can be rid of its evil influence.
Right. Awesome. Awesome.
And if not, actually, if we survive and have enough money, I should actually think about buying myself a set of banded armor.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
But it's expensive, so maybe the Duke, maybe once we're done here,
The Lord will be
the Lord
feeling.
has some spare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you gents now want to try to get out to the ship in the bay?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We'll make sure that the horses are fed and watered so they can
Okay.
recover somewhat while we.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
That may be his first
It's
reset.
it's 10
Uh-oh.
p.m. It's
Oh
time
no,
for
there
the
he is.
reset.
He's
Oh,
good.
there we go. Yeah, we thought it was 10 p.m. time for your reset server reset thing.
No, it's no. There was a lag. It's been bad all night. I've never been
Okay.
really much. Like right now, it's green, but it won't last long. But all right, let's
Well, it's been perfect from our
anchors
side.
away.
You haven't been a problem on our side. So
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Yeah,
Now
that's my connection.
to get to docks, you would actually leave the keep, cross the drawbridge. You're gonna have to exit the castle
mhm.
and into the out of the city and to the southeast along the coast there, and then you can find docks. There's boats. There's rowboats. Oddly enough, as you make your way through the city, it's quiet. You see people rummaging houses. You pass people coming up, doing what they were told by Johnny and his friends. They're bringing bundles. They're dragging carts. Everybody is funneling into this keep. Right, they're preparing for as a defensive posture.
And
As you
on our way there, Jason, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, excuse me. On our way there, we'll make sure to scrounge some extra flasks of oil or pitch or something.
Okay. Yeah.
And while Eldrin does that, I'll speak with one of the young boys and tell him to stand post at the wall and keep a lookout for the Visitani army. And if they should come, to sound a horn, right? There's got to be a horn
Oh, there's
lying there.
those orc horns all over, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So if he should see give 3 sharp blasts of the horn so that we can fall back, everyone can fall back to the keep and raise the drawbridge. So,
Okay.
so we'll have some lookouts on our back. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Where are you headed?
We're going to the docks to see about the Visirtani ship.
Ah.
Make sure it's no one's there.
Okay. You collect through the city, stopping and talking to individuals with carts and bundles. You're able to collect 9 flasks of oil along the way.
Nice.
Eldrin and Martin, as you ask people, hey, can you guys have any oil, flasks of oil? Do you have, and they give you everything they have plus what you find, right? So you've got 9 flasks. That'd be 4 each, basically, right? Something like that. As you make your way to the docks, which are kind of, it's an inlet, so it's kind of a strange, and we know the tide recedes quite a bit, right, in the evening. So it's kind of one of those where as it recedes, boats are laying in the sand, etc. But right now, of course, boats float. Most of them are small fishing vessels. Most of them are rowboats. As you walk the pier, looking at these, maybe find a boat you like, you do start to spot boats that are clearly not Eastmark boats, right? Maybe 6 or 7. You start getting to near the end of the pier, and you're counting 6 on this side, 7, maybe 7 or 8 on this side. 16 boats that would carry, anywhere from 4 to 6 men. They all, and as you stop and really give them a look, they look again like they're Visirtan make. These may have been some of the boats some soldiers used to get, or maybe the orcs used to get to the pier to get into the castle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there are Visirtan 6-man rowboats here at the end of the pier. Nobody's around. No fishermen around. I mean, everybody evacuated. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
16 rowboats?
16, 8 on each side of this pier. They hold between 4 and 6 people.
Huh. That's a lot of boats.
Yeah, and that would be roughly, if they were full, 96. And there were 50 orcs, so that doesn't mean they were all full, but just to give you an idea, quick math, that 100 men could have come on here, up here with just these boats.
Huh. And this isn't even the main Visirtan vessel, right?
No, these are just but they may have come from come from other boats.
They use
that were
this
deeper.
to unload the boat.
Right.
Yeah, the ship. They use the boats to unload the ship.
Is the ship not at pier, but
no, the ship's anchored in the bay. So the big ship is anchored in the bay. Yeah.
Gotcha,
So we should use one of the Visirtan boats to approach, just in case.
Okay. Yeah. Onto the boat, into the rowboat, rowing out. Is that what we're doing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If any storms blow up or you end up lost at sea, you're in deep trouble because you men aren't seamen. But it's pretty easy rowing out to this fish, right?
We don't plan to leave the bay.
Yeah.
As you row out closer, you begin to realize how large this ship is. Galleon, maybe? This is a large warship, maybe 3-4 decks high. 4 masts? I'm not certain how many masts are on a galleon, but this is a warship. You've never seen anything like this before. It's kind of daunting, mind blowing. Again, it's marked in Visirtan language on the ship. Black sails. As you get closer to the ship, you do hear voices on the top deck. You do see some movement about, but nobody's responding in an aggressive or hostile way. As you float up beside this large ship. And it's got multiple floors. So, of course, there are wooden side climbs. There are portholes at every level.
I think we should be aggressive here, my friend. What say you? I cast the oil flask up on deck, and you shoot fire arrows at the sails.
Okay, that sounds good to me. I might as well set the whole thing afire.
Okay. And then get the hell out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's so high you'll have to actually make throwing checks to throw this oil up onto the deck. Okay, because it's so high.
I got my dices.
Okay.
I like it.
It's armor class 9. That's not a problem. You just gotta get it there, right? to ignite.
All right.
How many are you lighting and throwing, guys?
Well, I'm thinking I'm not lighting the flasks. I'm throwing the flasks
Oh,
as
and then
many as I can
he'll
on the deck, and Martin will shoot fire arrows at the sails. So
nice.
eventually,
It'll
as they
burn
try to
down.
put out
Yep.
the sails, the fire will fall on the oil.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like a double pronged.
Right. I only want one roll each, right? AC 9, you just got to make one roll, and then we'll assume everything follows suit, right? You don't have to do this for every flask of oil. It's crazy, right? You just got to get your bearings at least once.
All right, that's a 12, so that's AC 6.
Yep. So once you find the range, you're good to go. So now you just start populating. You just start pitching them onto the deck. All right,
Yep.
Martin, firing your first arrow.
Yeah, armor class 7.
Okay, so once you find the range, it's not hard to hit these giant cells from the boat, but you're going to have to take off 5 or 6 arrows to get them all going, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The light, some take time to light here. You hear some barking and yelling, and a couple come running to the edge. They look off the edge. These guys are clearly sailors. They're Visirtani in culture and heritage. They look down, squinting down at your little boat floating below. As things erupt, you hear screaming. Now you see them running. A couple of guys actually are scrambling about up top as you start to row quickly away. I'm assuming you're not going to hang around, right?
Oh, no.
Right?
No.
As you roll away, you start to see these as they burn down. Then suddenly you see the deck erupt, the top deck. You kind of float out in the bay and watch as it erupts. You see men diving off the top 4 stories into the water. You count on this side of the boat as it burns. Maybe 6 sailors dived into the water on this side of the boat. You can't see on the other side. And they're swimming for shore as this boat is burning. You don't see anybody coming out from those other decks. Nobody's like climbing through portholes or out, out, right? So you can assume those decks, maybe unless there's sailors sleeping in or something, you don't, they're not aware as it burns. By the time you get back to the pier, it is well lit and burning. You see in the distance on the beaches these sailors as they swim to the beach and they swim to the pier, climb out. They're about 6 of them. They are not armed. They're half dressed. They were doing their duty on the ship.
Yeah. Well, we're not feeling particularly merciful today. So,
yeah, you could just, if you want, you can just take them captive. They're not probably going to put up a fight, right? They're literally safe.
Captive is a good idea because they might know something. They may know nothing, but they could know something about the plans for the guys up in the forest.
Yeah, and maybe they know where the rest of the Visirtani landed, and so it's recon, it's intelligence. So let's go round them up.
Right.
Yep. They're sweating. They've been swimming quite a ways to get to the beach. They're wet. They can't speak your language, but hands in the air. Clearly, these guys aren't warriors. They were required to run the ship or pilot the ship. You wrangle them up. Do you want to tie them, or you just want to force march them?
I think I keep them at arrow point while Eldrin ties them with a rope. Right, ties their hands behind her back.
Okay. Okay. And then you can just tug them by the rope. Kind of tie them all to the same rope, and then just kind of march them up the hill back to the city. Okay. The boy sees you as he does. His eyes are lit up, and you kind of pass him with these, and he looks at all these sailors, and he looks back and is watching in the bay this ship burn. The boy, just amazed. You get into the city, back to the city. You're taking these guys to the castle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, you're seeing less and less people now, but as you enter the castle, they have taken these orc bodies, they have dragged them across the bridge out in the fields, and they've piled them up. You can see they're preparing to burn these orcs. They have laid out the militia and the soldiers. You can see now they've cut down the dead soldiers that were hung from the walls. They're some of the girls and some of the older women are stitching them into canvas bags to bury. the place is full and there's people about, and they're actually people are in good spirits, right? As you come back into this, and this is all taken a few hours. Penelope is in charge. Her father has been moved back in. They've cleaned out the estate. She tells you the father's in the master suite in his home with Sarah, tending him. She points at the smoke over the top of the castle walls and says it looks as though we don't have to worry about that ship. But when she does, it reminds you that smoke can be seen from miles away.
Right.
Yeah. So might as well set the orc pyre alight, because it doesn't. One more fire is not going to make a difference. I'll ask her though, Lady Penelope. You were set to marry this Visirtani man. Are you perhaps instructed in their language? Can you speak the tongue of the Visirtani?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Because we have these prisoners here, and they'll need to be interrogated, and we ourselves do not speak their language. So
I am at your service. Anything I can do.
Yeah. So is your father recovered?
He is mending, and he is overjoyed that Sarah's alive. He's in mourning for the loss of his man at arms, and for Wallace, his groom, had been with him for a long, long time. He does not relish telling his son Vaughn that his father is dead because of his bad judgment. He is doing well. At some point, he would love to see you and thank you for what you've done. The horses are being taken care of. Obviously, they're being fed and watered. They're not in the best of health right now, but they are being taken care of.
Yeah. So, can we set somebody to interrogating this Visirtani, or do you want to
absolutely. What you just ask questions and she'll translate.
Yeah. Well, we'll ask them. Where the Visirtani main landing was, if they know where the Visirtani army landed.
It was farther south down the bay at the small village on the coast, where many of the army came, took land and marched into the woods. We brought the orcs and some of those soldiers with us, and they left from here. After we secured the fort, those soldiers headed for the forest.
So how many men are there at the village by the channel? How many?
I don't know how many are in the village, but we offloaded 100 men here. Well, not quite 150 men here. They may have offloaded 150 at the village, but I don't know how many are at the village.
Okay. And so how does this correlate to the army we saw on the move?
About 200. Right. You saw about 200, and he's just described about 200. Yeah.
Yeah. So
they just came from two different areas, and right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's unlikely they probably left some people behind in the village of the channel. It's not like they got like a huge contingent south.
Right. You estimated by the tents and your scouting about 200 are hidden in the woods. He's confirmed that he thinks about 200 total.
So that's the main army, right?
Yep.
We know they're in the woods, as opposed to that being just an advanced force or something.
Right.
So
they're all, talking as she asks questions on your behalf, and one will answer and another one will answer. They're all fairly, they don't appear to be as committed to the cause as maybe the soldiers, the orcs were, right?
All right. Eldrin, so what do you think we should do now?
Ask them if they know when the army hidden the forest was going to come down to the city.
Come down here?
Yeah.
They are marching. What day is it?
Well, given the date, I have no idea.
Yeah.
They're supposed to march on 2 days from now. Robleta. They aren't coming back here. They're marching north.
And there are no, and how many men were hiding in those woods?
About
Well,
200.
about 200. Yep.
Okay, no, just to see if they have a different number. That's what I
No,
wanted to
hmm
know.
I mean, as far
So,
as he knows, that they had on the ship, plus what they offloaded in boats from other ships that came with this galleon. He thought about 200 total troops.
so as far as he knows, all we have is that army that was marching north and the orcs.
That's
They
all.
don't know of
Yeah.
any other troops.
No, but the ships that this galleon led here, they've deposited all those troops. So unless there's something that came since they've been out here on the galleon, he wouldn't know if something's come since then.
Okay.
of
So
course.
I tell Penelope, it sounds then that Asylum is safe for now, my lady. That it is Robleta where we will be needed.
Yes, that is so. We will send word, and as soon as we can, we'll try to send men south to Asylum to see to your well-being.
Okay. Well, we
But
will use some of these orc weapons, and the girls. We will all do what we have to. The bows and the weapons, whatever we must do. The boys, the girls, we do what we must, and we will close this drawbridge and wait until we get word from the north.
I think that we will ask only for food, water, obviously the horses, and then any arrows, and if they have any arnica that can be spared, so we can take a couple of extra doses each.
Okay.
and some arrows would be nice because I'm
Yeah,
down to
arrows.
5 arrows. Yeah.
3. Okay, so it looks like 6 arnica in total, so that'd be 3 each, right?
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, and arrows, they're able to scrounge together from the orcs in total about 35 arrows, right?
Oh,
From all these orcs and on the walls and around the keep from the soldiers that were murdered, about 35 good arrows.
how? Yeah, well, I just need about half of that. Yeah,
Okay.
17.
Okay.
15 should
Okay.
fill my quiver. So 20 is enough for a full quiver. So I don't know how many of those.
Yep.
Although we do have horses, right? So we'll take whatever.
Saddlebags. Yep. Sure.
Yeah. How many hours do you have, Jose? You're muted. You're muted still. I don't know what's going on.
What about now?
There you go. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. No, so I took 7, and my
Okay.
quiver's full.
Okay.
And I took 15 and 7, so I took 22. So we have 13 arrows to spare.
Yeah, you
We'll
just
put them
bundle
in a
them and put
bundle
them in a
one of the
horse
horses.
saddlebag or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excellent.
And I think now is where we should draw the curtain on this session, and we can start fresh next time. You guys can be ready to roll. And let's do our
Beautiful.
XP, though, because the reason I want to draw the curtain now is it's a good time, but also XP, right?
Yeah, we didn't get them last time.
We didn't do XP last time?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so we'll do that right now. Let's go ahead and do, this was pretty epic. Let me pull this up. So the army, the fight with the army is 2,500 XP.
Ooh.
But you have to divide that with a third, which is the Lord. So 2,500 divided by 3 is what, 880, 250 or something? 800.
Yeah, 833.
Okay, so 835. We'll just round it up. 835 each for you there. The ship, 200 XP for burning up the ship.
So
Total, right? So 100 each?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, 100 each. And then the 75 each for the captured sailors.
Oh, capture sailor.
And another 200. Oh no, the 200 was for the ship, right? I'm trying to get the assassins. HG. I did not write it down on my sheet, so I got to look up the assassin that you killed. He was not in my. I didn't write down his XP for some reason. So hold with me one sec while I pull up that. Where is that darn chart for the HD? Shoot. There's an HD chart for the monsters and XP. And I can't.
You know what I did my copy of.
Oh, here it is. So he's no magical items for him. So 80, that would be 40 each for him, gentlemen. And then last episode, right? What else did you do? Oh yeah, you freed the hobbits. So let me pull that up. You guys freed the hobbits. That was a campaign point, right? You got a point for the lizard men, and also the XP for the lizard men. That was 12. Let me pull that up in my records here. Make sure I've got that. Session 3, you guys did dispatch all the lizard men. That is also a campaign point, gentlemen, for the lizard men. You dispatched 2 campaign points for saving the castle. Jeez,
Nice.
So you guys have raked up some stuff here, okay? All right, and that was 12 lizard men and a leader. For some reason, again, I don't have that written in my campaign notes, so we'll have to break out the calculator real quick on that one.
Sure.
Darn it. Should be written here, but I put those lizard men. Oh, wait, I may have it.
So far, what do we have? Was 1,050?
Yeah, That's 10.
You should be close to leveling up, too, I think.
4 and 4, 8 plus 7, 15. That's 1050. Yeah, so right now we are right around plus 6593. 6593. So that's 3, 4. So we're at 7643.
Okay,
Correct.
so
we're about
the lizard men
400
you
points.
killed. So 25 each times 12 for the lizard men.
25 times 12.
Mm-hmm.
It's 300, right?
Now, so that's 150 each, and the leader was 75. So that would be another 30 or 40 each for the lizard men. Had to look. I had to find my notes from all my prep there.
So that's 7833. Does that sound right?
And you scored 4 campaign points. And actually, the ship. No, that's the army. The ship's part of the army, so that's those 2. So you also got 4 campaign points. Unbelievable. Brilliant.
7833.
And that's 8.
I think that puts you at level 4, doesn't it?
No, it's 8,000 for level 4.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No.
That's amazing. Oh, no, you want to know why? Because I have already done all the math. Because you guys haven't collected the treasure.
Right.
So, there's been treasure you've left. Now, you did get the sword for this.
Yeah.
You did get the gold trident and the silver crown from the lizard leader, right?
Right.
And you did get the armor. So that's going to be, right? Let's just do that right now, because I'm assuming you're going to hand this over. I doubt you're going to wear the crown, and I doubt you're going to keep the gold trident.
Yeah. No, we're not going to keep that. So, you said 7831 hit points?
33. 33.
So the total 7833?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the gold crown. I should have this written. The gold crown. Let's see, where is it? It is silver crown. Excuse me, 100. So that is 100 GP. So that'd be 50 XP each, correct?
Right.
Okay. The golden trident would be 100 XP each.
100 each. Nice.
Yeah. Remember, this is based on the value of gold. That's how we're...
Right.
And then, of course, what else did you have? You have the...
armor.
The banded armor, magical armor. Jeez, I don't know if they even have that listed here. They do have magic armor listed. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, and they have banded, so...
Oh, my. Where's that at?
That's a treasure.
How come I'm not seeing the armor setting here, right? I didn't write down the XP for this. I just wrote down what he had on him.
That's fine. That's what we have the books for.
I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing shields with pluses. Oh, armor. Oh, yeah. See, the problem is the armor. Oh, there it is. 1,000 XP each for that armor. Each.
All right. What's his name?
8983, right?
Right.
Yep.
8983.
And the
That's our.
sword. Now, are you going to keep that sword and use it, or what are you doing with that sword?
Oh, I'm keeping it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You'll have to wait. You'll have to wait until you use the sword to learn about it, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And
Now
so
that
we get
that
to
should have
level
leveled you up. And
yes.
And that's not counting the Etten treasure that was left behind, all that. But at least you're. So treasure's a big deal if you turn it in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I think that's going to put you guys at level 4 now, correct?
That's correct.
That's awesome.
Level 4.
So the only thing really unaccounted for has been the Ettins and the lair of the lizardmen. You guys never discovered the lair of the lizardmen.
No.
Right. We didn't look for it.
Who cares?
Yeah, because we're full story mode.
Yeah, we love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Outstanding, guys. That was great fun. The war, I was nervous. You can see that when you made the video, if you guys want to watch that back. Again, I'm trying to make sure that it's a challenge, but I don't want to, I want you dead in 5 minutes, right? So it has to be legit, and it was based on what I had already factored in session 2 and 3, that there would be 50 orcs in this, but I just made them one big army, right? So we could narrate you just killing orcs, right? So you'll see in the video that orc army was just one creature.
Yeah.
Right? What made it dangerous is it was a HD 10 creature, so it could hit you pretty darn easy, right? But its AC was low, and of course, every damage you rolled basically killed one. So we could just freely narrate it, but it could have got out of hand real quick. Matter of fact, it took just 2 rolls to wipe the Lord's army out. It was just the Lord was all that was left. 2 rolls, and his militia was gone. Because
I noticed that
he couldn't miss.
Yeah.
I mean, that HD 10 really, and the Lord's militia only had, I think, 7, because they were basically pitchfork and torch. They had a 7 AC. So unfortunately, every roll against the Lord's army pretty much wiped out his militia very quickly. So very fun. I had a great time. I hope that was fun.
It was awesome.
One of the things I love about D20, we can do raw like that. I talk about it in the video. We can do raw. We can have mass combats by just turning the whole army into one single creature, right? The HD becomes their power level. Their hit points become the number of soldiers.
Yeah.
And we can do mass combat, and we can literally follow totally rules as written that way.
The same procedure.
Yeah. The only thing I was not going to do to you was make you roll initiative. I think we talked about that before session start, that I wasn't gonna make you roll initiative. It turned out, heck, we just went ahead and did. Once you got into the one-on-one combat with Ahmed, and I had noted, you'll see this in the rules, when the army gets to 15 hit points, or 15 soldiers left, Ahmed will show up.
Ooh.
So when you guys got him down to 17, he kicked the door open.
Interesting.
So I timed his appearance into the fight.
That was a trigger. Yeah.
Triggered based on what was left of the orc army. And the Lord, his stats still not come into play until his army was reduced to 15. Then his statistics came into play. And so then it was the Lord fighting against the Lord, and what was left fighting against the orcs. So then the Lord got a kick. So his militia stunk, but once they were whittled down, he comes into play. So you basically shift the quality as the hit points dropped, the Lord got better, right?
A little bit better. That makes sense.
But he was at 1 hit point, gentlemen, when you killed that final orc. Literally 1 hit point. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought it went well, and I thought it came off all right without being too chaotic and too ridiculous. I don't want to roll for 50 orcs.
No, nobody wants to do that. Yeah. Jose's muted in case he's trying to.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Yeah. And the reason I did the HD 10 was it's supposed to be chaos. You're surrounded by orcs. So the odds are you're going to be stressed. Whether we call them hits or not, you're stressed. You're going to be damaged. You're going to be wounded. So I knew the HD 10 was going to probably put you in a bind because they were going to hit more. And I also reduced their weapon to 1d4 plus 2, so they were going to do a minimum of 3 to represent the damage. They could do up to 6, a minimum of 3 to represent being surrounded by orcs in this combat.
Oh, it was
So
awesome.
it was meant to simulate the stress of being in a crazy melee, right?
This was awesome because it was so freaking bloody. It was glorious.
And in a way, you're not leaving the stone room. In a way, kind of slowed down your potential damage, because if you'd come out and started just fighting with everybody, it would have been utter chaos. So in a way, staying in that room and reducing the number of orcs around you was a great strategy, really.
Yeah, well, it's a choke point, right?
Yeah.
You said 2 orcs can't come in, and it's like, that sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I treated it that way. Then I literally treated it like they can only roll one time to hit you. The orc army had 3 attacks. So you could imagine how ugly it could have gotten if it was just you two versus what's left of this orc army. And Ahmed would have eventually showed up to double your trouble, right? But somehow you guys managed it. And I literally made the video. I thought, boy, this may be the end of our Rangers. I hope not. I mean, it has to be a challenge. It just has to be. What's the point, right?
Yeah. And I was rolling really badly. It's just that would cover for me, because I hit him like a couple of times, but there was a lot of times it was like, oh God, this 6 is not going to do much. I killed him, and it's like, yes, okay, it's all 6.
Yeah, because orcs are HD 1-1, so technically they're not going to have a lot of hit points anyway, right? Yeah. So, I mean, if I had literally done 10. Matter of fact, I did. In the video, you'll watch it. I actually rolled their HD 10 hit points up live on Roll20, so you guys can see how many hit points the army had.
Yeah, actually, Eloy, you had problems with the Visirtani, but with the orcs, you actually slaughtered them.
Yeah, you were slaughtering them.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
holy cow!
I rolled like an 8 for one. It's like, yes, full damage.
And you gained 4 campaign points, which I believe now puts you. I think you were at 10-9. That puts you now. You guys are actually up 10. That would be 13-10. So you've actually turned the tide by saving the castle, killing the lizardmen, freeing the halflings. Now there's still points out there in the world, but they're not active totally, right?
You know, one of the old jokes in 3.0, which you never played, right?
No.
No.
I never played 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in 3.0, the multi-classing, you could pick whatever level you wanted of whatever, next level. And level 1 Rangers, they had the tracking, they had the favorite opponent, they had like a bunch of skills. Right. So one of the tropes was, you take that 1 level of Ranger and your character's OP, right?
Yeah.
So that was like a joke. Right. So we had 6 levels. That's what happened, man. That's how we handled this. We had 6 levels of Rangers.
I don't know if I talk about it in the video, but I definitely, again, it's a dirty word in our business, but since there's only 2 of you and we don't have a party, I'm definitely weighing your hit die, your levels as hit die versus your potential challenges, because we have to have a way to make sure I don't overwhelm you or underwhelm you. So I am using your levels as a total hit die when I match you up. If you had a party of 4 or 5 guys, all bets are off, right? Because the more people, the more things. But with just 2 guys, boy, you can get overwhelmed so quick. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, because we're limited to 2 attacks. That's basically the bottom line.
The key is attacks. That's exactly right. Attacks are nightmare. Yeah, if you're way behind.
Yeah. Plus, if 1 guy falls,
then it's
then it's really bad. If you have at least 3 guys and 1 guy falls, one of the other guys can help the fallen guy, and 1 guy is still attacking.
That's right.
So,
one guy goes down, you're almost fleeing. You almost got to run for cover.
It's been my experience that if you have at least 3 players, it's a different game.
Yeah.
Right. If you have 1 or 2 players,
it's tight. Yeah.
It's much harder because the economy of actions. How many actions can you take this stone? Well, you can heal him, or you can attack.
Right.
And so if you waste time healing, then you get attacked. Yeah. And so it's a different dynamic. If you have 3, well, 1 guy is still attacking, right? So the other one can help heal.
Exactly.
Right? So,
and so we say in the old school OSR, it's a dirty word or balance, but the reality is these are all of these games, when they're well written, are math. They're balanced math equations. So it's not unwise as a GM to be aware of that, right? Just make sure things are fair, right?
And the thing about that, at least I know Eloy's thinking this way too. Is like, we like to be the competent guys,
Yeah.
but I think there are. It's not that there's limits to that, but it's got to be logical. It's like one of the things that I have to bite my tongue on is spouting off about how to defend the castle, because I'm thinking these guys are good at the guerrilla stuff, right?
Right.
But where would they have, even though Eldrin is the son of a knight, but he was trained as a cattle guard all his life. So
Right.
what would he know about withstanding a siege?
That's
Well, I mean, we know the basics: close the door, get the people inside.
Right.
But
Keep a lookout,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Basic stuff.
Yeah, but that's common sense stuff. I mean,
right.
here's the
Exactly.
thing. Here's the thing you never want to forget, too. This thing about assumption of skills. So
Right.
whether Eldrin grew up in the war machine or whether he grew up learning the warcraft, the reality is this. You grow up in Middle Ages and you know these kind of castle keeps exist, and you know that they exist because they're designed to protect the people from invasion.
Right.
Even growing up here, you would have known, get them behind the walls,
Right.
But sieging a castle now, a young grazing guard might not know the best way to siege a castle.
Correct.
But
Or
you
defend
definitely
against
know how to get them in there, bar the doors, and close the gate.
Yeah. Which is why I thought that it was great that our plan was hit the ship and then scout the army, because we were assuming it was coming for us, right? So,
Yep.
so because that's what we are good at.
Yeah, and I literally have the timetable. So I double-checked my timetable yesterday. I was talking to my wife today about the something. I can't remember what it was now. I thought, boy, it's going to be interesting. But the timetable. And so I know exactly how many days plus, right, that the witch is ahead of you, headed to the Black Forest. I know exactly where this army is going to start marching. So it's the window's tightening up as you spend time doing stuff, right? So, but it's fun. I mean, it's great. This is we calling it story mode, and it is in the sense that we're not dungeon crawling, we're not murder hoboing. We have an intent with things happening.
And in a sense, when the encounters are unavoidable, because there are story reasons not to avoid the encounter,
Right.
That's an argument for some sort of balance.
Right.
Right.
In full dungeon crawl mode, if there's a dragon in the next room, you're like, yeah,
That's
maybe
right.
we don't need to go there. And so
That's
we
right.
can bypass it.
Yep.
But if you have to deal with it for story reasons,
Sure.
then you are forced,
Yeah.
quote unquote, forced into the encounter. So that's where your sense of fair play is in, right? It's like, oh, come on.
And I even talked about this in the video. In session 2, I didn't know where you were going to. Session 3, you guys could have said, okay, you came out of the woods, said, oh my God, there's an army there. We're headed to Robleda and telling the Duke right now. I had no plan for you to siege that castle or defend that castle. Right? Because I didn't know what you would do, so I'm not going to prepare that. I just knew the castle was going to be held by the 50. I knew the castle had 50 orcs in it, and blah. Right? That was part of the campaign point. That 2 points actually could be captured here. So, but I didn't know if you were going to go there or not. You guys did. You actually went down there. I'm like, oh damn, this is interesting. So, I would have had to make up siege rules on the fly, or I would have had to make up this army quickly on the fly. It would have been a different. Because we had a break, I was able to, and you were already in the castle, prepared to cut, let the drawbridge down. I had time to make sure I counted for all that, right? But had you guys gone the other direction, this all would have been on a timetable, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
no, this was an awesome scene.
So I'm not a big
bloody orc fight,
right? So. I'm not a huge fan of balance, but in this situation, again, I already knew there were 50 orcs in there. How you handled it's up to you guys. But so that was already set up and done, right? When I set up my campaign logic map of what on these certain dates these things will be in existence, kind of thing. So, but no, when normally I don't worry about balance at all, especially in a party. But something like this, we have to be aware of. Well, and also what's realistic. It's a small keep. They're not going to be 400 orcs in this tiny little keep. So
even they couldn't stand the smell.
Right, exactly. Right? I mean, this was in a way his force to take the keep, while his army marched. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, and if it comes to that, then it's like, no, we're not taking back the castle. There's 400
Right.
orcs in
that's
there.
right.
No, but I can do it. No, no, you only have like a ragtag
Right.
bunch of survivors that you can't take it. We have to go north. And
Hmm.
so,
Hmm.
yeah, in that way you do bypass the encounter,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, nope, that's not doable. So we're
Yeah.
not even
We
trying.
could have we might have tried to sneak in through the sewers to rescue the lady,
Oh,
right? Something like that.
Right. Yeah, you could have
But
definitely done a rescue deal, right? Climbed into the balconies of the second level. I had all that mapped out. You definitely had. I have a map for all that. You could have done just that.
hmm
yeah,
You could have gone on a rescue mission to just get her out, right?
yeah. So maybe this makes Jason's life too easy. But usually, if you have to choose to prepare something or not, think of the commando approach because that's what these guys should do.
Sure.
It doesn't make sense for them to act like
Sure.
knights.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought it would be like on the open. Uh,
Yeah,
Right on the open field. No. No.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
and in this, I'm thinking, like I said, even though there's a timetable in which there may be a front on the east, right? Because you guys left session 2 when you left, he was massing 300 of his forces and sending them east to build a front there at the Knoll Tower, and we have
hmm
the Visirtani coming up south. So there's potentially 2 open wars could potentially occur in this campaign. You don't have to actually be involved in the wars. There's other
right.
things you can be doing, right?
To help the plot.
Right. I mean, that's why the Duke has an army. You don't have to fight a war. He's got an army,
Right.
right?
True.
I mean, you don't. I mean, you might want to race up and tell the Duke these guys are coming, but you're not necessarily going to fight in an open. I mean, that's not what you do, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, that was wonderful. Thank you, gentlemen,
Yeah.
both again
Awesome,
for
man.
another great Tuesday night. Love it, and thank you for
Yeah.
playing eSmart because I've loved this game for a couple of years and. It's turned out now we've had 4 fantastic sessions with this great little game. So
Thank you. I got my freaking name in the book, and I hadn't had a chance to try it.
I hadn't even read it until like a couple of months ago, and it's like, oh my god, this game is amazing. Why hadn't I read it? And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah,
it is so good. It's so good. And I don't even see a lot of